The City Council is expected to meet today to discuss the possibility of bringing a bike sharing program to Calgary. The notice of motion being put forward by Councillor Evan Wolley, who wants to bring a 2-year bike share program starting in September. It would see a pilot project of about 10,000 bicycles, scooters, and other mobility devices on Calgary streets. By late 2019, the Transportation and Transit Committee would present its midway findings and report back to Council on just how the program is working. This is where we bring in Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 CHQR this morning to continue the conversation. What do you think about this, Danielle?
I think it's a great idea. Now, here's the thing that I'm puzzled about, though, and I'm going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today, is in the articles I've read, Council member Evan Wolley, who's proposing this idea, says that there's at least 15 different bike share companies that have approached him saying that they're interested in the pilot project, which is a bit of a head scratcher because if there's that much interest, why aren't they just doing it? So I think that we have to look a little bit more closely at what the model's going to be. They are very successful in certain cities in the United States. And some of them have been 100% publicly funded, so it's on the taxpayer dime. Some of them have been public-private partnerships, so you end up with a private operator with some government subsidy. And some of them are 100% private, even looking to corporate sponsorship to be able to help defray the costs for users. So I think it will, whether or not Calgarians buy into it, I think it will depend on the model that's being proposed. But with the advancement in technology today, we are accustomed to seeing car-to-go. We now have Uber on the roads. Those companies have managed to figure out how to make sure that their vehicle doesn't get stolen or that those who damage it are held accountable for it. I think that the technology probably exists to do the same for bikes. It
would certainly require some sort of tracking for sure. What about winter?
Well, maybe that is the other part. New York City has a bike share program. I'd be curious to know whether or not they operate year round. Many of the programs that have been implemented, they begin small with the downtown core. And when you think about the fact that the cycle track infrastructure network is downtown, that may make some sense for a year round. It may just be that it can't be available in all places year round. Might be something that gets rolled out for the summer. I think this is why there's some great wisdom in trying a pilot project and trying to bring in as many companies that have been successful elsewhere, because ultimately we'll find out what works for this city. And I suspect that there's going to be a nice little niche that's going to be quite successful.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens at City Council today. More on Danielle's show starting at 9:30. Thanks, Danielle.
Yep, my pleasure.